Hi, and welcome to Maths Appeal. I'm Bobby Seagull.
And I'm Susan Okereke.
And the aim of this podcast is to celebrate maths.
We've been away for a little while, but seeing as today is National Numeracy Day, we thought it would be a perfect time to return and announce our second series.
Woohoo! So we're going to tell you a little bit more about that later on. But if this is the first time you've checked out a Maths Appeal podcast, where have you been? But we'll introduce ourselves properly.
So, I'm Susan Okereke. I'm a maths teacher and maths communicator, and I love teaching maths to children, to teachers, to parents, to everybody. I love it. And I passionately believe that numeracy is an essential basic skill like reading and writing, but sadly in the UK especially we aren't that great at getting our students ready to leave school and feel confident and competent, and I want to change that. And so through the stuff I do, I sort of do a variety of kind of presenting stuff where we're trying to change the fact that making maths less negative, showing that it's creative, and wanting to make people more confident. And that's why I'm online as Do the Maths Thing, because I want everyone to do the maths thing.
I like that. Do the math thing. So it seems like it should be a song. Release it out there. Here first. In case you're wondering who this lovely madman is, my name is Bobby Seagull. I am the author of The Life-Changing Magic of Numbers, a journalist for the Financial Times and TV presenter. But most importantly, I am a school maths teacher. But I wasn't always a teacher. Once upon a time I was a human. No, I had I've always, watch it. I've always had a career with numbers. After uni, I worked in investment banking as a trader and a chartered accountant, but I changed careers to teaching because, like Susan, I love maths and I think that it should be something that everyone should be able to access. So we both think maths is something that everyone can do.
And we got together a couple of years ago to make this podcast. And we did that because we really want people to feel confident in using maths in everyday life. And we want to make it more accessible, because I think a lot of people think that maths isn't for them. But we want everyone to think it's for them. Maths is everywhere and for everyone.
So if you've missed any of the episodes from Series 1, actually you can still give them a listen at your own convenience. And we cover, honestly, such a range of topics that will help anyone studying for their maths exams. So here are some of a run-through of Season 1. So I'll do a couple, Susan will do a couple, and we'll keep flicking through. So I think the first couple we had a discussion on place value. So we're thinking about, tens, hundreds, thousands, and units. In fact, Susan will say, Bobby, don't forget the units. In fact, the other way around.
The ones.
Oh, the ones. Oh, don't forget the tenths, the hundredths, the thousands. So yeah, looking at place value, what it means. Then we moved on to episode 2, types of numbers. Your integers, which is the whole numbers. And actually neatly segues onto what episode 3 would have been.
Which is fractions and decimals. Kind of parts of number, including wholes and parts, and the different ways we can kind of look at them and represent them. We also looked at additive reasoning, which is thinking about, again, but different types of parts, looking at wholes, putting things together, taking things away, and the relationship between numbers that way.
And then we moved swiftly on to the most tongue-twisting mathematical phrase, multiplicative reasoning. Multiplicative reasoning. It's not exactly multiplication, but it's a reasoning that's used in problems that involve multiplication. So it's one of the things we can have a master's thesis on explaining multiplicative reasoning, but we try to explain it to you in one episode. Then we looked at, actually one of my favourite topics, percentages, in episode 6.
And we then looked at the language of algebra, so we had a little bit of talk about why we use algebra, what's the point of it. And then in episode 8, we looked at probability, so chance, being a bit playful around chance and thinking about games as well.
So thank you for taking a chance on this podcast, because that's the sort of probability we like on Maths Appeal. Susan, honestly, this is the sort of level of humour and intrigue that you get on Maths Appeal.
I'd like to think, Bobby, it's going to get better, but hey.
No
promises. But I'd like to think we're just starting and it's going to get ramped up. Watch this space.
Getting warmed up. So episode 3 squared, or 9, was all about stats, because when people often learn about probability, I think it's quite natural to look at how stats is presented, what it means in the world. And then we moved on to the world of geometry, and it was on angles and lines, acute angles, obtuse angles. What are lines? What is a line? It's quite a philosophical question. What is a point? Euclid can help you there.
And episode 11, we then took the geometry and thinking around sort of space, and we did 2D and 3D shape. and we had a lot of discussion around that. And we also then looked at measure in episode 12, which was quite broad, looking at different types of measure, from some time to measuring lengths and weight. But all of it, we were talking about how maths is used in the world, and also how we as teachers showcase it to our students, and we kind of wanted to encourage discussion around it. So that's what we did in those episodes. But we also, while we were there, we also chatted to some fantastic guests who are maths champions, who love maths and shared their love of maths in a variety of ways. Wonderful people like the incredible legend that is Johnny Ball, who famous maths person on the television in the 1970s and 1980s. A lot of people who are mathematicians now got into it because of him. We also spoke to the wonderful Dr. Simon Singh, who is the author of Fermat's Last Theorem and The Simpsons and Maths Secrets. And he founded the incredible project and charity Parallel, where they do incredible questions for students who are really quite confident in maths. And so the whole point, one of the big things he wants to do is to sort of push maths at a higher level to more students in school, which was just an amazing kind of view. And then we spoke to the great Dr. Anne-Marie Maffedon, who you might know from Countdown. Child prodigy, did her maths GCSE when she was like 8, I think, or 11.
Something ridiculous.
Tiny, but she's also doing amazing work in tech, trying to encourage young girls or people who identify as female to get into STEM, which is like an incredible cause, and incredible chat. So we've spoke to these wonderful people, and we also spoke to the then CEO of National Numeracy charity, Mike Ellicock, and he talked to us about this charity, National Numeracy, that we absolutely love, and they are trying to tell us more, actually, Bobby. What are National Numeracy trying to do?
So they
as
are
an ambassador. As an ambassador.
I got my badge on.
Yeah.
Proudly wearing my badge. Actually, I've actually got a mug here. You can't see it. It's actually it's behind me. I will show you the mug later. There's a National Numeracy mug. But they are an independent charity set up in 2012. So 2012 was known for the London 2012 Olympics, but also National Numeracy being formed. And their mission is really just to raise the lower levels of numeracy among both adults and children. Because in the UK, there's quite a shocking stat that nearly 1 in 2 adults have the numeracy skills that you'd expect from an 11-year-old primary child. Listen to that again. Nearly 1 in 2 adults have the numeracy skills you'd expect from an 11-year-old primary child. So clearly, something's going wrong. And National Numeracy are trying to challenge that and rectify that by promoting the importance of everyday math skills. And one of the ways they do that is every single year they have a National Numeracy Day where they try to show that maths shouldn't be that scary and encourage people to take a numeracy challenge so they can almost like do an MOT to address their maths issues. And even this year, a big number natter, first of many, where people are having conversations about numbers to, again, make the subject feel less...
Demystify it.
Demystify.
Yeah, and also make everyone understand that, help everyone understand that maths isn't something to be feared, because I think a lot of people do find it scary, and that's kind of, so as a charity they kind of we're on the same page as them. We want to take away the fear factor of maths and make it seem a bit more fun.
So paper cuts scary, maths not scary. Honestly,
paper cuts and lemon juice, that is terrifying.
Oh no, that is
bad.
That is stuff of nightmares here.
So it's exciting times. Series 2 of Maths Appeal is going to launch in a couple of weeks on the 6th of June, which should be just around. That's Maths GCSE. If you're in England or the Northern Ireland, the Maths GCSE exam 6th of June, paper 2. It might be a terrible day or a wonderful day, but it will definitely be an excellent day when you listen to Maths Appeal Series 2, Episode 1.
And in fact, this season we're going to focus a lot on the importance of problem solving and mathematical thinking. And I know sometimes teachers or even students might think, oh, is problem solving just a worded question? It can be worded questions, often is, but actually it's much more than that. It's almost like a way of thinking, a way of approaching problems, which will help you in maths, but we think actually can help you outside of maths as well, because life is full of problems,
And we want to highlight the fact there's different ways sometimes of solving problems. And as maths teachers, we are fully aware of how difficult it is to, teach problem solving, because actually there's so many different ways you can do things, and we really believe that to be able to get good at problem solving, you need to practice problem solving, and that's kind of exactly what you want to sort of showcase in this series. You know, the best way to learn how to problem solve is to solve problems, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Who'd have thought that?
I mean, who knew?
Yeah, problem solving, doing more problem solving. But what I think we want to show is that it's fun to do maths together. Of course, maths can be a solo activity where you're doing problems yourself and you're learning times tables when you're in primary school. But actually, it can be an activity which people enjoy with others.
Yeah. And we'd love to be able to help you. So if you if there are any specific skills you'd like to learn, or if there's any even questions that you're like, I don't know how to...
Can you teach me how to dance?
Oh, Bobby. I mean, I could teach you a couple of steps, but that's not guaranteed. That's a different problem to solve.
That's
a different one.
Okay, sorry. Wrong podcast. Okay.
So we're going to try and keep it specific to maths. So problems specific to maths, if that's okay, Bobby. Yeah?
Okay, that's fine.
We can bring in some dancing later, but not quite yet. If you listening are really interested and you want to kind of get more involved, and you have some good problems to share of any skills that you really want us to kind of look into and do, can you tweet us at mathsappeal? And if there's anything that you would like us to cover, then get in touch with us. So at mathsappeal.
Every episode we're going to feature a maths question which we will work through together, and we hope by the end of that process you're going to feel a little bit more confident and knowledgeable. So here is the one that we're going to do today. So Susan, would you rather get a penny that doubles every day for a month, or £1 million? So would you rather get a penny that doubles every day for a month, or £1 million? I want to say dollars. Sounds cooler, like $1 million. But £1 million.
No.
Yeah, £1 million doesn't
Dr.
sound quite
Evil.
as like.
But I think you'd probably want the £1 million with regards to exchange rates, no?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. There's inflation as well.
But then do you, or do you want the penny? So this is the question, right? So as we do these questions every episode, we're going to kind of go through some of the same prompt questions to help to kind of almost showcase the thinking that we're having. When we first get the question I'd like to ask is, how do you feel when you first heard the question? So I'm asking myself, because you read the question to me, Bobby. How did I feel hearing that question? Okay, how did I feel? I know the answer because I've worked it out. But as soon as I heard it and I saw it, I was like, there's a trick. It's not going to be straightforward. There's a trick. My heart was saying, take the million, obviously. But another part of my brain was going, So how did you feel when you saw the question? Did you know it already?
I think it's one of those problems that I've loved seeing in various guises since childhood. Like the classic one of someone asks for 1 grain of rice on the first chess square, then 2 grains of rice, then 4 grains of rice. So let me go back to the first time I'd heard that problem. The first time I heard it, I thought, I'm never going to take the equivalent of doubling each day. It's nonsense, because I'd rather take the £1 million. Actually, when I first heard it, I thought, it sounded like a bit of a nonsense problem.
Because also, I'm going to jump in as well, because it doesn't start with £1, it starts with 1 penny.
Oh, one penny. Like,
there's no way. That's what I thought. So that's the first thing. You've got thoughts happening. Then, does the problem make sense to me? Make sense to you? Make sense to you?
It does now, yeah. It does make sense what they're trying to work out.
So then, the next question is, that I want you kind of to be going through in your mind is, what are the maths topics in this question? So what maths is in here? So like, before we do it, so one of the things as a teacher, trying to help people get better at problem solving, I'm trying to encourage people to think about what they're thinking. So before you jump into the answer, what's the answer? You're going, how do I feel? Do I understand the question? Have I got everything I need about it? And then also, what maths is in here? So what things in my toolbox of maths am I going to have to go into and use? And so when I saw this question, I was like, this isn't straightforward. So it's doubling, but it's going to get big quite quickly. So what tools can I use? What did you do?
It's one of those topics where you can almost approach it thinking, oh, this could be an A-level or a first year uni, like introductory question, or it could be a GCSE question if you approach it in a different way. Again, I thought the doubling So something to do with multiplication, some sort of sequence, because we've got, 1p, 2p, 4p, 8p. So I think, sequences, possibly series, because I think series are where you add up rather than just having it, because we're adding it up this time.
And then I think as well, it made me think of, because there's loads of talk about this around COVID and stuff, exponential growth. Yeah. So I knew I was like, something big is going to happen. So as you say, we're doubling it, but there's like powers of 2. What does that kind of look like? So that's what was kind of going on in my mind, thinking about the maths there. Are you up for sharing your solution?
Yeah, let's do this.
Can I ask, when you did it, how did you do it?
I think the first thing, I actually put it into Excel.
Oh, so did I.
Excel. So I put it in an Excel spreadsheet. I think I put 1p, 2p, 4p. And I can't remember if I just tried to drag it down to see if it picked up the pattern or whether I think I might have created a little formula on what day one is. So day one is 1p and it's doubling each day.
Yeah.
So that's times 2. And then on the index, you're obviously raising it to how many days. So if it's after, depending on whether it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days.
I think all I did was, when I used Excel, I just went equals, so the sum equals, and then the cell 1, and then times, so as in but they use asterisks for times, times 2, and that was it. And I dragged that formula down, just doubled every time. It's
nice. And then just suddenly, by magic, you can scroll down to how many days. You can adjust how long your month is. What if it's in a leap year? What if it's...
So this is what we missed out talking about, I think, is... What facts do we know? We know we've got a penny. We know that the other alternative is £1 million, and we said a month. We haven't clarified the parameters, because what could a month be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And does that make a difference? So you've got 30 days, 31 days, and 28 days. So you have to decide what your month is, and that might have an impact on what you decide on.
That's a very good point, actually. So I think, I just out of interest, what did you go for your month as?
I just said 30, I think, in the end.
I went just a nice round...
In between.
Round number.
And then I scrolled down and my mind was blown. The answer for 30 days is honestly insane, people. On the 30th day, it is equivalent to £5.3 million.
Just that day alone, not including all the previous.
And the sum, so that means, if you think about it, you could have had your million and walked away from it. But if you waited for a month, on the month, the 30th day, you'd get £5.3 million. But you'd also have the sum of everything before then. Yeah. So it's a total of?
10.7 million. So £10,737,418 and 23p.
I mean, I knew it'd be a bit bigger, but that's blown my mind. So it's 10 point something million. And I was like, imagine the question was, so that's like a given, but what kind of other questions could you have that could make it even tighter? What blew my mind was the whole idea of, what day was it where it was just less than 1 million? I think it was, if you went from 30 days for 5 million, 29 days would be 2.5 million, more or less.
Yeah, roughly.
28 days would be 1.25, 1.3.
Yeah.
And then, so on the 26th day, it'd be, if you just had the end result, the end amount of the 26th day, and that was the question, you'd go for the million. But because I'm thinking with regards to an extension of the problem, is in this one, it's an obvious win when you do the calculations. You take the penny. I'm interested to know, when does it make more sense to take the million? I don't have an answer. I'm interested in what other people
So if you go backwards, so just excluding Excel, so day 30 alone is 5.4. So 29 is 2.7.
2.7. Okay,
2.7. Yeah. Day 28 is 1.35. Yeah.
Yep.
And then day 27 is just shy of 700 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means on day 27, the sum is like 1 point... Yeah, that's right. So day 27, the sum would have been, of all the previous days, about 1.3 million.
So 27, you'd go for 27 if it was the sum of them. You'd get more than 1 million.
Yeah.
But 26, you wouldn't.
No, 26...
25, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel that there's more scope for these. I love this question.
Yeah, you could change it. What if it's like trebling or quadrupling.
Makes quite the difference. And how
Or you
many
start
days...
with a tenner instead.
Oh, I mean, can you imagine? So, extensions. We're interested to hear if you want to add to this problem, if you have any kind of interesting twists on it, we'd love to hear it. Hopefully our talk through has kind of helped you feel a bit more confident having a go. So we've given you some ideas of how to think about attempting problem solving. And that's pretty much it, I'd say, for our special National Numeracy Day bonus episode. And we'll be back with series 2 in a few weeks' time. And we'd love to hear from you. So tweet us at Maths Appeal. And if there's anything in particular you'd like us to cover in the new series, please do. Also, if you've got any extension questions on the back of this, if there's anything you like, if we tweak the numbers, could you think of a more interesting question that's similar to this one? We'd love to hear that too. So do get in touch.
And in general, we'd love it if you could help spread the word. So if you fancy like subscribing or leaving a nice pretty review or recommending Maths Appeal to your friends or students or colleagues, we'd love it.
I think what we've got time for before we go is a wonderful maths factoid, because you are the king of random facts.
Factoids. Okay. So actually, you're talking about Excel and you got the asterisk.
Yeah.
Do you remember the French character? I'm gonna
Obelix.
Get fact. Yeah.
An asterisk, yeah.
So instead of asterisk and obelix, imagine there's a guy called Obelus. I'll tell you,
Sure.
people are going, what's this guy talking about? So if you want to sound clever at a party,
Right.
you know the division sign with the line and the 2 dots?
Yep.
It's called an obelus.
No, it's not. Is it?
Yeah. And I'll tell you what I love about it in particular, because the asterisk, which is like a multiply sign
Yeah.
on Excel,
Yeah.
and you got asterisk and
And
obelix, and you got asterisk and obelus.
Wait a minute. So are they not connected? So the comic is not.
I wonder whether I'm the first person to ever read. I've never realized that till right now.
Wow, gosh,
Asterisk
you are
and obelus.
font of loads of
That is a
weird
mad
and
fact.
interesting information.
That's a mad
Gosh,
fact.
obelus. But also, what I remember with that sign, the division sign, like teaching it to the students about the idea that what it is also represents is fractions. So you've got your dot at the top, which is your numerator, and your dot at the bottom, which is the denominator, because
Yeah.
division and fractions are pretty much the same thing. They just look
Yes.
different, but they're
Yes.
the same thing. So yeah, thanks for that. I love it. This is a great way to leave,
I know, I'm
Some
quite
more
chuffed.
information.
I'm quite chuffed.
Go. So you've been listening to the Maths Appeal podcast with me, Susan Okereke and Bobby Seagull.
The music's composed by Kelly Okereke, the image designs by Calix Davis, and our producers, as always, Jenny Nelson.
Wonderful.
And we're going to see you on the 6th of June for season 2 of Maths Appeal.